The next thing we're going to talk about is the shooting phase. Most armies in 40K fall into three categories. The all shooty armies or heavily shooty armies such as Tau, Imperial Guard. Then you have the close combat armies like the Bugs and Orcs. And then you have combination armies that are sort of a balance of the two, or a mixture. I shouldn't use the word balance. And those can be Chaos Space Marines, Eldar. With the release of 5th edition, Games Workshop came out with True Line of Sight. Basically that means if a model can see an enemy model, then it can shoot it. If for some reason it couldn't see it, such as, let's say these rocks were here, then this guardsman would not be able to shoot because he can't see anything over there, where the other guardsman could. That's probably a better example. See, this guardsman would be able to shoot. There's a guardsman back here. He would not be able to shoot. The shooting phase, for you guys that don't know it, the magic number is 7. What does that mean? It means that you take the numbers, you take your ballistic skill, BS, and subtract it from 7, and that is the number you need to roll on a 6-sided dice to hit your opponent. Guardsmen here have a ballistic skill of 4. I'm sorry, they have a ballistic skill of 3, so therefore they would need 4. Let's say these 4 guys, we're going to shoot these Chaos Space Marines. You'd roll, and that was a 3. You'd see right there that a 1, 3, 3, 6 means only 1 hit would go against the Chaos Space Marines. As a note, not a note, but everybody can shoot in the game with the exceptions of whatever your weapons. Some weapons have certain restrictions. The other people that can't shoot, if you're in close combat, which we haven't went over yet, you can't shoot. If you ran, remember running, you roll a d6, and that's how far extra movement you move in the shooting phase. Them guys can't shoot. And then if you go to ground, which we haven't talked about, but going to ground is a tactic that basically your guys are trying to preserve themselves, so they go to ground and they get an extra +1 on their armor save. Alright, we're going to talk about shooting. These Khorne Berserkers moved up, and they're going to shoot the Imperial Guard guys. Well, they have a range of 12 with their pistols. As you can see, this one's out of range, he's in range, he's in range, and he's out of range. So basically, that would let 2 Berserkers shoot, and they have a ballistic skill of 4. So remember the rule of 7. 7 minus 4 is 3, so they need 3s to hit. And I rolled a 5 and a 3. So that's 2 hits. And then their strength 4. Guard or toughness 3, so I need 3s to wound. 1 wound. And due to the AP of the weapon, the guardsman gets no save. So that means 1 Imperial Guard guy is dead. Let's talk about armor saves real quick, or saves in general. When you get hit with a weapon, each weapon has an AP value anywhere from 1 to 6, and there are a few with a dash. If the AP number equals your armor, then you don't get a save. So if a missile launcher who is strength 8, AP 3 was to hit one of these Khorne Berserkers who have power armor, then, which is an armor save of 3, it would ignore the armor, and if he wounded him, it'd kill him outright. In 40K, unlike fantasy, you only get 1 save, and the saves can consist of armor, invulnerable save, which is typically Terminators and characters, and then cover save. And what you want to do is take the best save of the 3, and that's the one you want to apply to your roll. And basically you have to roll your armor or higher. So Khorne Berserkers have a 3. They have to roll a 4 or higher. 3 or higher, sorry. There's a 5. 5 means the Khorne Berserkers would save if the guardsman shot them. Not every unit gets all three of those saves, so some might just have an armor, some might have armor and cover, and some might have all three. In 5th edition, the cover save is 4+ for the most part. There's a chart in the book, but it seems like almost everything is a 4+. If you shoot through one of your units, say these Ratlings here, we're shooting at the Khorne Berserkers, then the Khorne Berserkers, since most of the Ratlings are behind their guys shooting at the Berserkers would get a 4+ cover save, or their armor, which in this case, unless the Ratlings rolled really well and got the penetration for the sniper rifle, which ignores armor, then they would take their armor save, which is 3+. But if they got that penetrate, then they would go ahead and take the 4+ cover save. A 6+ cover save would be like razor wire or some kind of mesh or fence or something. 5+ cover is grass or bushes or fences. Then 4+ cover is pretty much everything else. And then 3+ cover is like fortifications and bunkers. Let's talk about going to ground. I mentioned it earlier in this video. Going to ground is where a unit is trying to preserve itself. If a unit goes to ground, it can't shoot, it can't move. But what it does is give them a +1 to their armor save. So that'll help on them staying around if you expect that unit to get shot at. A lot of the times a good tactic is like if you're holding an objective and you got something that's lightly armored, you might want to go to ground to try to preserve that objective, preserve holding that objective. Okay, we're going to talk about instant death. Instant death is where a model takes a hit twice its toughness. So a Space Marine at toughness 4, if he took a hit from a missile or a las cannon, he would die. And that's bad for your characters because regardless of how many wounds you have, you're dead. You would get your invulnerable save, so if you failed it, then life is not good, so your 2 or 3 wound character is gone. We'll talk about APs now. Each weapon in the game has an AP. The APs in the game range from AP 1 through 6 and then dash. Okay, the AP number, if the AP of the weapon that you're wounded by equals your armor number, then you don't get an armor save. What that's saying is that weapon was so strong it punched right through your armor. Some examples, an AP 6 or like the Guardsman las gun, it doesn't punch through, hardly any armor except for like orc armor, some bugs. You got the pistol on the Khorne Berserker, there's AP 5. That cuts through the armor of the Guardsman, who's armor 5. And then you have 4s, 3s, 2s. And really the only AP 1s are like Meltas. Las cannons are AP 2. The Terminators have an armor of 2. Your power armored armies such as Chaos Space Marines, Necrons, and Space Marines, some Witch Hunters, and some Demon Hunters have power armor, which has an armor value of 3. Eldar 4, Guards 5, Orc 6, and they just, varies from army to army. Rapid fire weapons such as that Guardsman's las gun, Space Marine bolters, Chaos Space Marine bolters, basically have the following. If they don't move, then they can shoot 24 inches, or shoot twice up to 12 inches. However, if they move, then your rapid fire weapons can only shoot 12 inches. Assault weapons, on the other hand, such as the flamethrower, a lot of the Eldar weapons are assault weapons. They can move or stay stationary and it has no effect on how the weapon performs. Heavy weapons like the sniper rifle, missile launchers, las cannons, etc., etc. Heavy means if they move, they cannot fire. So a lot of times your heavy weapons will find a place to perch, and that is where they'll stay throughout the game.